Hello my dudes, Steph here. It's been a little while since I posted a video, and I'm sorry about that. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. I'm in the process of moving, so say goodbye to this lovely little room that we've spent so many years with. But we're getting a new studio, folks! Between that and planning a wedding and working a very demanding full-time job, I haven't had a lot of time to make videos for you guys, but today it's time to talk about the 9th film from Quentin Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Very, very highly anticipated film for this year because it's Quentin Tarantino and it's got an amazing cast, and you just know that it's gonna be great, or at least we hope. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood stars Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, whole bunch of other amazing actors. I'm sure you saw the trailer, you know. If you didn't, the trailer link is in the doobly-doo below. And it's a little bit hard to explain this film, you just kind of have to watch it, much like all of Tarantino's films. It's not really about the plot, it's more of like a slice of life kind of film. But it's set in 1969 Hollywood, and that's kind of the life that's breathed into this film is 1960s Hollywood. Like, that's what we're watching, that's what it's about. That and a sort of retelling, reinventing history of the story of the Madsen family killings. So it's kind of this weird combination of like bright, sunny Hollywood hills mixed with murder, because, Tarantino, right? So that in itself is a pretty intriguing concept. And that's pretty much all I'm going to give you as far as plot goes, because the thing about this film is that it doesn't really have a plot. I would say compared to all of Tarantino's films, because none of them really follow like the correct or like standard formula of cinema. They're always kind of all over the place and don't have a hugely structured plot, but they usually have some semblance of a plot. This movie, there's really not a plot. There's really, you jump in at one point and you jump out at another point and none of it really has to do with anything. But it somehow works. It's just like a slow burn, slow moving, relaxed kind of hangout movie. There's just a lot of people hanging out, talking, a lot of talking. This is a very dialogue heavy film. It leans heavily on the dialogue and pop culture references, and just watching these amazing actors kind of bounce off of each other. It was almost just like a spectacle, like you're just watching these really talented people, some of the biggest stars in Hollywood, ironically starring in a movie about the biggest stars in Hollywood, and it was just very entertaining. Like Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, their chemistry is just amazing on screen. They were so entertaining, super funny. The dialogue is really witty, really funny. Probably the funniest Tarantino movie ever, I think. It's definitely up there. I was laughing consistently throughout the entire movie. But like I said, it's really just like a slice of life film. It's a Hollywood fantasy peppered with the fantasies of all of these characters who each have their own specific fantasies. It does kind of meander a bit, like sometimes we'll follow one character, sometimes we'll follow another, and it just sort of goes all over the place. I think it definitely needs a second viewing. I only saw it once and I'm still sort of chewing on it. I would like to see it again because I wasn't really sure what I was expecting, and it was just sort of a weird, wild, meandering ride, and I feel like I would appreciate it more if I saw it again. Because when I first came out of the theater, I was like, did I like that movie? I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. The ending left me feeling sort of, I don't know, wanting more, not really sure why it ended, where it ended. It does sort of end abruptly because there isn't really much of a plot, so there's not like a climax or a resolution that we're reaching towards. It's just sort of like, there you go, now it's over. And there is sort of this weird feeling that you're left with afterwards because this is sort of a slice of history and you know what happens to these people or what did happen to these people. And so the end has kind of a strange tone when you put all of that into context. That's all I'm going to say about that because I don't want to spoil anything for you. But I will say that Tarantino took his time with this film. It really feels like its length, like you can feel it. But at the same time, I wasn't extremely bothered by it because I felt like even though it was slow, it was consistently entertaining. I never really knew what was going to happen next. And by taking its time, the movie kind of encourages you to live in this 1969 Hollywood, really feel the setting and the atmosphere. And it just felt very alive. This world and the cinematography and just everything that created this picture made it feel beautiful and wonderful and just cool to live in for a few hours. I think Margot Robbie's performance as Sharon Tate was very admirable despite it being kind of a small role. She doesn't really do that much. She's just sort of there, and I don't know if that was just out of respect for what happened to her. They didn't want to, get too deep into the character because she's more of like a vision or a memory of who she was. She's just like this breath of fresh air, and she's just smiling and dreamy and embodying this young woman who loves Hollywood and is really excited to pursue this career, and she's fresh in the industry and she hasn't been like broken by it yet. She's just this dreamy vision of Sharon Tate, and she's this ray of sunshine which really propels the suspense of where the story is heading, since we all know about the tragedy that her story ends with. So I didn't get as much from her as I was expecting, but I think Margot Robbie did a really good job of embodying this character, and she just felt very rounded as a character, and I thoroughly enjoyed every sequence with her in it, even though not really anything was happening. So yeah, like I said, I'm still kind of chewing on this film. I'd like to see it again. I don't think it was Tarantino's best film by any stretch. I think it was good, it was entertaining, it was definitely one of the best movies of the year, but I'm not really sure how I feel about it because it really doesn't have a plot at all, and I'm just sort of trying to figure out the purpose of this film, and maybe I'm missing something, but it felt very much, I heard someone else describe it this way, it felt very much like an episode of Seinfeld where it's just like a movie about nothing. Nothing really happens. It's just people talking about stuff that may or may not be relevant, and some comedy, and it's just purely entertaining, and that's about it. Aside from the like creepy undertone of like, about the Manson murders. And there is some pretty graphic shit towards the end where everything kind of goes absolutely insane, and it's amazing and really entertaining and very disturbing, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. So, I don't know, I think you should go see this movie because it's a break in the mold of the usual movie that you're used to seeing because it doesn't have a plot. It really meanders, but it's entertaining, it's a fun ride. The dialogue is absolutely incredibly written, just so good. There were some lines that I was just like laughing hysterically or just really impressed by how good they were. Some phenomenal scenes. Obviously, it goes without saying that visually it's stunning. The cinematography and the direction is amazing and beautiful and just like breathtaking. The soundtrack slaps so good. Everything just amazingly done. It's obvious. It's Tarantino. I don't need to tell you this. But yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4. I was gonna give it a 4.5, but I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of the work that went into it. I appreciate Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt's acting, Margot Robbie's acting, everyone's acting. I appreciate the passion that went into it as an art. But as a viewer, I didn't leave the theater like, yes, that was the best movie I've ever seen. I just left going like, yeah, that was good. That was fun. I had a good time. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. But I would love to talk about this film with you. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack. I just want to hear your thoughts. So let me know in the comments below what you thought about this movie. Feel free to pop on over to our Discord chat room where we can talk about this movie in depth. There's a link in the description below. And let's talk about this movie. But that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Steph Koza. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos. Also, like I said at the beginning of this movie, I am in the process of moving, so things are kind of crazy right now. I did recently shoot an apartment tour of this apartment that I'm currently in because I wanted to do like a nerdy apartment tour. I've got a lot of nerdy shit around. And I also kind of just wanted to capture it before I move out of it and never look at it again. So that's going to be coming out soon. I'm also going to be doing a ton of videos at my new house because we're going to be doing a lot of renovating and making it look pretty, and I thought I'd make a couple videos, and I'm going to put those on my second channel, which is just Steph Koza. I'll put a link to that in the doobly-doo. I'm also going to be posting a ton of stuff on my Instagram, so feel free to follow me on Instagram if you want to follow the journey of my house moving renovation experience. I don't know, I think it'll be fun. But that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!